Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Heritage Regional High School's virtual open house. For those of you who do not know me, I am Nicholas Broad, the coordinator of the Sports Excellence Program. Tonight I'll be going over the Sports Excellence Program in a nutshell, starting with how we've organized the academic day for the students, and then moving on to each individual sport that we offer here at Heritage. So the Sports Excellence Program is a sports concentration program with athletic training time built into the students' academic days. It's important to note that this program is separate from our Huskies interscholastic teams, which we offer to the entire school. The goal of the program is to promote academic success through athletic participation. What I mean by that is that we are trying to use their passion for their sport as an incentive for success in the classroom, and that is both academically and behaviorally. Afterwards, our secondary goal is to provide student athletes with high-level training to help develop them to their athletic potential in the sport they're specializing in. So for standards, we're going to start with academics. Once students are in the Sports Excellence Program, we are expecting them to be maintaining an overall average of 70% in all of their classes. In addition, they must be successfully completing all of their academic classes. It's okay if a student is struggling in one of the classes and is below the 70. We will help try and support them with the various systems that we have set in place, such as lunch recoup. We have the Senior Math Help Center. We have a homework assistance program that we do after school. And for those who are still struggling, we will put them on academic probation, where we'll have a meeting and set up a plan for the students to really make sure that they're on a set schedule to help them overcome their academic difficulties. In terms of athletic standards, to enter the program, all of the students have to do an entrance evaluation. So we hold those typically in October, mid-October, and for students that are already at the high school level, we do those in the spring. Once they're in our program, we are looking at effort, motivation, and work ethic during their practice sessions. And the coaching staff will be sending home 2 evaluations throughout the year, one mid-year and one end-of-year report. In terms of behavior, we have pretty stringent behavioral expectations for the students that are in the program. Since there's training time built into their academic day, the classes go by much quicker, in which case that means that the teachers have less time to teach their subject matter. Therefore, we are pretty strict on the discipline issues within the class. There's no time for the behavior issues. And also, we really think of this program as a reward for students for good behavior, for working hard in their classes, and we expect the kids to be setting a good example around school, and we want them to be good ambassadors for Heritage Regional High School on and off of the playing field. The way we've organized the schedule here at Heritage is that we're on a 10-day cycle, Monday to Friday, and both weeks do not mirror. It starts mirroring after 10 days. Every week, we've built 4 days of training into the student's academic day, which means typically a typical high school schedule here is a full day of class, which would be 4 times 73-minute classes throughout the day. Students that are in our concentration programs do 2 73-minute classes, and then they have 1 45-minute class on their training days. So that's what they do 4 days a week. On the other day, they do a regular school day, which would be the Wednesdays, and that would be their 4 times 73-minute classes. So right away you can see that the kids are doing approximately 400 less minutes per week of actual class time, but they are completing the same curriculum as the students that are in the general studies program. It might mean a little bit of extra homework, and it definitely means that the classes are being taught at an accelerated rate. Our academic groups are closed groups because it's a schedule that's very unique to the students that are in this program. And they are mixed with students that are in the ICANN concentration program and the Fine Arts Focus concentration programs. Also, it's important to note that all of the students in the programs have the French Enriched Level French course. And once we get to the secondary 4 and 5 grade levels, we do offer all the different levels of math and the science, and also all of the different option courses that they may need for the CEGEP requirements, such as chemistry and physics, biology, and others. That was a quick overview of how we've organized the program. Now we're going to get into the specifics of each sport. So for our hockey program, this is a program that we've organized in-house using Heritage staff members. So we have Mr. Black, Mr. Mitchell, and Mr. Stevenson as our head coaches. They are all teachers within the building. Our goaltender coach is former NHL goaltender Mario Gosselin. Typically, we practice right beside the school. We're very lucky to have an arena right beside the school, so Rosanne Laflamme Arena. And we also practice very frequently at Complexe Sportif Bell in Brossard. When they're heading to the Bell, we bus the students to and from the Bell in time for them to take their school bus back home. We have set up the schedule so that they typically practice on the ice 3 times a week, and they have 1 off-ice strength and conditioning session per week. Occasionally, we will also, depending on how the schedule is working, we'll also offer some late practices, we call them, which would be 3:30 to 5 o'clock practice, in which case the students could not take their school bus home. They would need to be picked up. The hockey program is divided into 3 different groups according to skill and age category. So typically we have our our peewee, our bantam, and our juvenile levels. The age categories are a little different than community hockey. All of our secondary 1 students are peewee aged, and even secondary 2 students for us are peewee aged, and we can put a maximum of 5 per team. I know it is a little confusing that we use the same terminology as the community teams, but the age categories are different. Hopefully that'll be changed in the future to clarify that a little bit. Once we've accepted our students, we've selected students that will be representing the school on the school teams. And we register them into the Ligue de Hockey Interscolaire du Québec, the LHIQ. I invite you to take a look at their website to see which other schools participate in that league. It's mostly Montreal school-based for the most part, and a few teams out in Quebec City and Sherbrooke, so there is quite a bit of traveling. We typically do an October evaluation session for the program. That's where we're just doing our first round of admitting students. And then we invite the students that we've admitted back out in April for a second evaluation, sometimes a third, depending, where we're trying to finalize our school teams to let the parents know whether or not the students were selected to represent Heritage. And we do that in time for May. The reason being that we're doing it at that time is because if the students are selected to play on our Pee-wee, Bantam, or Juvenile Division I teams, they cannot play community hockey at the same time as they're playing on the school team in a D1 category, as per the Hockey Quebec rules. Students that are not selected for our teams, but that we did invite into the program, they can continue to play in the program. There's no issue there, and we encourage them to play for their community team, and we'll let you guys know in May if that is the case. Also, it's important to note for equipment, the students are not allowed to take their school, their hockey bags or their hockey sticks on the school bus. We do have storage equipment storage rooms here at Heritage where the students can leave their stuff overnight, all week long, whatever they need. So moving on now, we'll move on to our track and field program, which is another program where it's organized by Heritage staff members. So we have Mr. Eric Baudouin and Mr. Christopher Broad that run and organize that program. So the goal of that program here is what we're doing is we're training the athletes to compete in cross country in the fall. Then we go into indoor track season during the winter and outdoor track in the spring. We register all of the students in the scolaire meets, which means all of the SSIAA meets and all of the RSEQ meets. So we're talking about approximately 3 to 4 cross-country races, 6 to 9 indoor track meets, and 3 to 4 outdoor meets. The facilities at Heritage, we have a 400-meter track. We have our long and triple jump pits. We have the setup to do high jump, and we have 3 weight rooms that the kids will have access to while they're training here at Heritage. In the winter months, we bus these students to the Complexe Sportif Bell 3 times a week to do their track and field training, and we keep them at Heritage once a week to do specific strength and conditioning stuff. When we head to the Complexe Sportif Bell, just like the hockey program, we bus the kids back in time for them to take their school buses home. Moving on to basketball. This is the 3rd program and the last program that we have that's organized by Heritage staff. So for this one, we have Mr. Ryan Payne and Mr. Sean Casson as the head coaches, and we're lucky to have Mr. Larry Hunter coming to us from McGill University. He's their head strength and conditioning coach that comes and works on skill development with our kids. The focus here is really on skill development, where we work on that 3 times per week, and then we do 1 more session that's strength and conditioning based, specific for basketball, once a week. Very important to note that this is separate from the Heritage Huskies after-school basketball teams. That program is offered to everyone in the school. So even students that are in our concentration basketball program must do the tryouts and stay after school to be part of those teams. And one of the prerequisites that we have for the basketball program is that students are expected to be playing at a competitive level, whether that be for the school and or their community teams. Moving on to soccer. Soccer is not organized by Heritage staff. This one is organized by the Association Régionale de Soccer de la Rive-Sud. Its program is overseen by the technical director of the region, Mr. Marcelo Corrales, and our coaches are Rami Abdelhafez and Andy Dunwoody. We've been lucky enough to have them for, I think this is their 4th year with us now. So we're getting a lot of nice development with them being on our staff. So our facilities as well include some turf soccer fields right behind the school. So our students have access to those during their training hours. And then in the winter months, we send them to the Complexe Sportif Bell as well, with the track and field groups and some of the hockey groups. Same thing, we bus them back in time for them to take their school buses home. Currently, the soccer program is at about 44 students. So we've divided up that group into 2 groups that are divided by age and skill level. And this program has nothing to do with our Huskies interscholastic soccer teams or our futsal teams. It's really run by the soccer region, and all of the students that are in the program are expected to be already competing with their respective community club. The focus of the program is skill development. These are not extra teams. However, we will play the occasional game against other Sport Études schools just to work on some team tactics and that kind of stuff and to motivate the kids, but it's really not a team. The focus is on individual skill development mostly. Our applicants, the grade 6 applicants that are coming in, should already be playing at the competitive level at the U11A level. Moving on now to our gymnastics program. The gymnastics program is run by Gym Richelieu, which is about a 5-minute drive from Heritage Regional High School. These students, what we do is we either transport the students by taxi to get to their gym when they're done their academic day, or the coaching staff come and organize to transport the kids directly to their training facility. They train there until 5 o'clock at night, so they start at 2, they go till 5, and the parents come and pick them up directly at the club when they're finished. Some of the higher level gymnasts may do some additional training time as well. That is something to organize directly with the club, but it is offered. And the students must be at a competitive level and actively competing throughout their time in the program. Moving on to our swimming program. This is another one that we've outsourced. And this one is operated by the Club de Natation Hippocampe, and their head coach is Guy Dorion. It's important to realize that this is a competitive swimming program. The students athletes train at the Rosanne Laflamme pool right beside our building. They train in the pool on the Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays until 4:30. So that is past the time that our school buses leave. So they must organize their own transportation home on those days. And on the Thursdays, they can take the school bus home because they're not actually going in the pool on that day. They do strength and conditioning. On the Wednesdays, that's our full school day, but the students in the swimming program are expected to train after school from 4 to 6:30. And then again, with the club, you guys can organize additional time depending on your child's level. Some of them train on the weekends, some of them train prior to school, depending as to what the goals are of each individual athlete. All of our grade 6 athletes that want to be assessed for this program should be experienced swimmers. They will be evaluated on the front crawl, the backstroke, the breaststroke, and the butterfly at the time of their evaluation. Also, just to mention that we do have an athletic therapy clinic here at school. We have an athletic therapist that's in the clinic 2 to 3 times per week to treat all of the sports excellence athletes. Unfortunately, injuries are a part of sport, so they are bound to happen at one time. So it's great to have the therapist here on staff to treat our students and help rehab them back if an injury did occur. We're also newly affiliated with a clinic in La Prairie called Hexa Physio, and our students have access to their sports medicine doctors and staff as well. So it's a great link for us to send some of our athletes over there to get seen by sports med doctors. So moving on to our program fees. Program fees are based on a yearly enrollment in the program for each sport discipline. So depending on how many kids we have in there, the fees are going to range. We typically calculate those in the spring and finalize them in June and notify the parents in June. For the programs that are offered by a heritage staff, they range from, for instance, for basketball, there's a range there between $800 and $1,000. For the hockey team members, approximately $2,500 per year. For our non-roster players, we range between $1,700 and $1,800 a year. So those are the hockey players that are in our program. They're practicing with us every day, but they're not actually going away to the games. They're playing for their community teams. Our track and field program ranges between $1,500 and $1,600 per year. Now for the sports that are organized by the outside clubs, we have 2 sets of fees. We have the fees that go to Heritage Regional High School, and we have fees that go to their clubs and associations. So for gymnastics, the heritage portion is about $700 to $800. And then we have the additional club fee to Gym Richelieu, which is last year's fee was $259 per month. Okay, and then if there's competitions and special clothing for competitions, that's not included. That's on top as well. For the soccer program, there's a fee of about $1,200 to $1,300 that goes to Heritage Regional High School. And we have an additional club fee that goes to the Association Régionale de Soccer de la Rive-Sud. This year's fee was $1,480, and that includes a lot of different training gear that the kids must wear for their practices. For swimming, the fees range between $365 to $400 for Heritage Regional High School. And then the portion that goes to Club Natation Hippocampe is about $1,340 for the year. That can range as well a little bit, but these are last year's fees. If you wish to apply to the program, we invite you to take a look at our Heritage website. You can apply online. Exceptionally this year, due to the COVID-19 health measures, we will not be hosting an academic exam. We will be requiring the final copy of your child's grade 5 report card to use as for the academic assessment. Also, please take note of the athletic evaluations that are coming up in mid-October. Most of these will be taking place on October 15th and 16th throughout the day, which are PED days for the Riverside School Board. We will be, again, due to COVID-19, we will be changing the format of these evaluations. So right now what we've done is we've put an approximate time for all of the evaluations, and then a couple of days before you will be scheduled with an exact time for your child to show up for the evaluation. The placement is based on a combination of academic and athletic evaluations. We typically mail out the results at the beginning, or around mid-November. But we may be a little delayed this year due to the COVID-19 and how the entrance exam has not been finalized yet. I'd like to thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, I invite you to send me an email. My email can be found on the website. So it's nicholas.broad@rsb.qc.ca, or give me a call in my office and I'll gladly take any questions you may have. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.